Thank goodness.
Hey there, welcome to the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG here. I've got Jexer at the back. Let me bring him up because I think it's just us two tonight. Hey,
everybody. Yeah, we get to drive the ship. Let's see if we can talk over the top of each other for a couple of hours. See how we go.
I'm sure we'll be able to work out how to do that. I'm sure. Gee, how's our lag? Do we have much of a lag tonight? Because I think usually that's the issue. Like I know we've got guys in the chat who freak out every single time we talk over each other. You know, Mango Junkie comes to mind. He freaks out every single week, you know, but it's the lag. We get lag.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's hard having a conversation over like Zoom or something like that when you've got 4 or 5 people coming in. It's just mayhem.
Yeah, you're just trying to time your way into the conversation, and when it lags, it's no good. So what's been happening? I've noticed that there's a couple of the derivatives have been pumping. They were pumping last week. I think, did I see Maxi go up to 2.37 hex?
Yeah,
it got up there.
We did say that when Dipcatcher was on, either me or you might have made the comment that there's going to be a lot of Maxi that gets burnt, and we sort of stepped through how that would look. We looked at the process, and obviously if you burn the Maxi, you've still got the same amount of hex is getting earned by the contract by that stake in the background. So when that stake comes due, for every one Maxi, you're going to be able to redeem more of the underlying hex and hedron, and a lot has been sent into to mint the team token. So do
you know how many?
I just closed my window that had all that open, I think. Oh, hang on. No, I might have here. Just give me a sec. I was pretty impressed. Like this is we're not even 24 hours old here yet, and I won't bring up my screen, but I'll just have a quick look. So just shy of 20 million Maxi has been burnt.
That is huge.
That would be...
I can't believe that.
10... Would that be 10%? No, it wouldn't be 10%.
It would be under 10%.
7% of the supply or something like that, I think.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
I had a look at it, and I had a look at it like a couple of days ago, and it was in the single digit millions. So the fact that it's up to 20, I can't believe that's fantastic. I mean, and good on
I don't even think it's been going 24 hours yet. Oh yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. And Gold Key, they seem
good on them.
Yeah, like Batman and Robin, aren't they? They're doing a great job over there.
Congratulations to those guys for putting stuff together that obviously has product market fit, because they're getting people are in. People are getting into these things, and good on them. You know,
I Okay, let's while we're on the subject, I'll run through some of the other stats because it's done fairly well. So we've got 4 new perpetuals that have been launched. So you've got Base, Trio, Lucky, and Desi, and these are all just different time length pooled stakes. So Base being the 1 year stake, 7.8 mil has been, so that's 7.8 million hex has been put into that or pledged for that stake. Trio 7.35, so not quite as much as Base. Lucky 7.32, so they're all around that 7 million mark. But the Desi one, 17 million. So that's in the first 1 day of a 21-day pledging period. That's not too shabby.
That's it's good. I wonder, like, once this hex gets pledged to those, I wonder whether it will have an effect, like in future, if they want to do another maxi 5555 one. I wonder whether the fact that they've done these ones along the way, I mean, those participants won't have as much hex to put into the bigger one, because ideally that bigger one, you really want to get like the bigger pays better. You know, you want to get the bigger pays better on all of them, right?
Oh,
but
yeah. That's
you want
the
to max
whole
it
point.
out. You want to max it out.
Yeah, that's so ideally you'd want to see each of those, hit that 150 mil mark and max out the bigger pays better. Obviously, you don't need to reach that to still get the bigger pays better, but yeah, you'd like, that's the benefit of going in as a pool. You'd like to hope you could do that. I'm just trying to think the way the maxi launch worked and whether there was, I don't know whether there was a big rush the first day. It sort of seemed everyone sort of held back a little bit from what I could see, just to see whether there was going to be enough volume there to actually get the bigger pays better. And then there was like this snowball. As soon as everyone went, oh yeah, this is a thing, everyone piled into it. What's really interesting is a lot of people probably don't even have their private keys with them at the moment. Don't have their hardware wallets. They're busy kicking back in Vegas. So there's a fair swag of people that may intend on getting into this, but it's just the timing's wrong. They're tied up for a week or so overseas. So you might see this trend continue over the next, to the sort of later part of the minting process.
You mentioned Vegas there. So there's a conference going on, a Pulse conference going on in Las Vegas at the moment.
Apparently.
We've got a couple of our team members there, Blue Bum and Sammy Chica. They're both there representing the Hex Late Show and themselves, obviously. And they're going to be doing, if they wake up, because I believe it's quite early in the morning in Vegas right now. That's why they're not here, because they're either sleeping, but most probably they're out partying.
I don't think they're sleeping.
Yeah, so who knows if they're going to do that stream in a few hours. So we'll see. We'll see if they do that stream.
And
yeah. So
who knows what sort of condition they'll be in for that stream?
That will be the fun of it. That will be the fun of it, I reckon.
So they both. Everyone has sent their apologies. So obviously, Sammy and Blue, they were going to try to get on this show, but it's just crazy o'clock over there for those guys. So they do send their apologies, and Tangent does as well.
Yeah, Tangent sends his apologies. He's decided to stay at home and cry because he sold all of his maxi below $2, 2x. So he's just at home crying over that. And that's it. And that's just you and me. You and me left.
Yep, that's it. We're going to hold the fort. So we don't often get the chance to have a good interaction with chat as well, because we're always here bantering amongst the 5 of us. So yeah, this will be more of a chance to speak to you guys in chat as well. And I'm actually surprised we've got this many people watching tonight. I thought everyone would have been off in Vegas and having parties and whatever. So good that we've still got the Aussie Hexicans have come out to support by the look.
And a big shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming along. We appreciate it. If you have any questions or any comments, please don't hesitate to type them in. So
sorry, just before we move on from the apologies, Tangent is not here for a good reason. So he's actually planning phase 2 of his drum and bass
Yeah.
events that he's got running. So he done the first one probably saying a month or so ago. He's got another one, must be next week, because he said one of the international DJs has landed in WA tonight, and that's why he's out. He's taking them out to dinner somewhere. So yeah,
he's not actually at
he's
home
not slacking.
crying. He's not actually at home crying.
Well, probably until he goes out for dinner, he is. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, so he's busy working in the background. He's got another event planned for. It must be next weekend, I guess. Yeah, I've got to check in and see what his plan is for that.
That's cool.
Sorry, you're gonna say something, mate, before I cut you off.
Look, it will probably come back to me. Couldn't have been anything too important, Jexar.
Cool.
I did want to just touch on the Tornado Cash thing and how that's progressing. I've kept an eye on all of that, and I know a lot of people don't care. I care. I think this is. I mean, I know you do. A lot of people don't. I've heard other people say that it's just like big deal, big whoop. This is in my opinion, this is at the heart of what's important in crypto at the moment. In my opinion, this is at the forefront. Because it goes to true decentralization and what it takes, So what I do know is that there is an IPFS site for Tornado Cash, and that can be accessed. And also there's a foundation. It's the Frontier. No, what's it called? It's the something Frontier Foundation, where they fight for rights, digital rights, and privacy, and all this sort of stuff. And they actually have supported a university professor, who's uploaded the source code for Tornado Cash onto GitHub, and they're sort of just testing the whether that can be done, whether they can do that.
From a political or from a
legal perspective, because my understanding is that there's a little bit of a problem. They believe there's a problem with how I guess what they call the OF something in the US. I don't have anything in front of me. How they've gone about doing it. They're like classifying it as an entity, as if it's an entity, when it's actually the code. Yeah. When it's they believe it should be classified as free speech. So it will be interesting to see what happens in that space.
So
OFAC.
So you got two things going on. You've got a legal battle going on, trying to prove that code is free speech, and because that precedent was set previously. So trying to uphold that. Then you've got the technical aspect as well, which is, can you still use it? So you're saying they're putting the front end up on IPFS, which that gives it some resiliency.
But you still need your own. You can't use you need a different node. You can't use Infura nodes or Alchemy. A lot of these nodes are censoring the contract. So if you're going to do it, you either use your own node or a node that isn't censoring transactions.
Okay. And what I'll say now, I've got no evidence or anything to back this up. Just seems very. The timing of what Binance has just done with USDC, I'm just wondering whether that plays into this. So Binance has just...
What have they done?
Yes, they've come out and they've made the comment that any USDC on their platform is going to get swapped into their stablecoin, so BUSD. So they're basically... now
they're not supporting USDC, basically. They're not going to support it.
Well, there's a few things at play here. So obviously, BUSD has made a bit of a rise up the ranks recently. I think it's now just under USDC on CoinMarketCap. So it's nipping at its heels. So there's probably some competitive advantage where they want to sort of squeeze USDC off their exchange. Now,
Yep.
the theory they put forward was it was to improve liquidity and trading on the exchange, which I don't know if it makes
I
much
like
difference.
it, dude. I like the idea.
Yeah, I like it as well. So I think there's probably going to be already they're talking about anti-competition challenges and things like that. But I think that will be very hard to sort of push on to Binance because there's hundreds of other exchanges where USDC is available. So are they just trying to make a play so that they can get more of the stake of the stablecoin space? Or is it some sort of show of, I guess, solidarity for the rest of the space, saying, well, if you guys are going to start blackballing contracts, then
Yeah.
I hope it's the latter.
I want nature to take its course. This is what I want to happen. I want any platforms that do any of this censorship and basically what blockchain was invented to avoid, right? Any platforms that do that, I want them to lose market share. I want nature to take its course. I want people in crypto to move away from using them. And in that way, they'll just die off, And then the ones that spring up, hopefully, are more censorship resistant. They're made in a way, they're created in a way that these things can't happen. So that's what I hope happens.
I think you're right. I think it'll be survival of the fittest, and what's that? The law of attrition. It'll play out hopefully, and the things that are TradFi or legacy, heavily legacy influenced, hopefully we start to have less of a reliance on those things. And these pushbacks that we're seeing now will hopefully drive the space forward, and everyone will realise, shit, guys, we need to get it together. If we don't come up with the solutions, we're going to get railroaded. So yeah, it's funny actually. Someone's just put in chat, can't wait for USDL. Someone else on Twitter today put out a call and said, "Oh, what's the play? What stablecoins should you be using at the moment?" And there's only one that I know of that doesn't have regulatory risk at the moment, and that's the liquidity protocol one on ETH, the LUSD. It's pretty small in terms of market cap, in terms of how much supply there is on LUSD, but that's the only one I know that doesn't have regulatory risk. And if someone in chat knows any others, by all means yell out, but at the moment that's the only one I can see of, unless you're using an algo like Ampleforth or something like that, which hasn't been brilliant in the past. So someone had
doesn't
DAI
seem
in there,
bro. A stable coin that's not stable.
Yeah, I think it has actually been a lot better of late, but I just the whole rebasing thing, I just don't trust it. It's a bit funky.
Yeah.
There's nothing actually, I won't say this. I was going to say there's nothing underpinning its value, but it's been a while since I've looked at that one, so I don't know what the story is with it. But at least with LUSD, we know there's collateral backing it. The ETH is the collateral backing it, and it's pretty efficient in the way it handles the stability side of things. DAI, True USD has counterparty risk. So someone's just put True USD in chat. So DAI and True USD both have counterparty risk. DAI, unfortunately, is backed by ETH, USDC, and Tether, I believe. Now they're trying to come up with a plan. They're sort of scrambling to come up with a plan of, okay, well, if USDC are going to do stupid shit like this, what does that mean for us? Because we could, at an instant, get put in the same category as everyone else and told that we have to shut down our services. So they're looking at a way to work around that. Better brains than me are looking at that, and I don't know whether they've got a solution to that as yet. But
how long do you think the US dollar can stay reserve currency of the world? I mean, I see
a long while.
The beginnings,
at least our lifetime, mate.
The beginnings of jockeying for that world reserve currency status. Obviously, Bitcoin's in the mix. Gold, they want it to be them. The gold, the gold people, obviously. Bitcoin's in the mix, obviously. Well, I mean, it's obvious to us that Bitcoin's in the mix. Hex could 100% fill that void for the world.
Could be.
It could. Yep. It could absolutely fill that void for the world. World reserve currency. It could also be, you know, a pension plan for the world, really.
So on that, I don't think gold can be, because it just, how do you use it? Like, ultimately, you've got to put something in front of it.
Settlement
is just
to use it. Too hard. Settlement, yeah.
So you end up having to put paper in front of it again, which we end up exactly where we are now. So I think it's got to be, as far as I'm concerned, it's got to be digital. I can't think of it. It's got to be digital and not open to the manipulation of any one government or group of governments. So set policy that is not determined at the whim of a few people.
Yeah. So anything right now, as it stands, you would say that Ethereum is not that place. You would say that Ethereum is not that place, because we've just seen how the government has been able to use choke points to stop protocols, to stop the use of them.
Yeah, but that's not an issue with Ethereum per se.
It's an issue with the nature with which you interact with Ethereum. Like, yes, the blockchain will just keep going, but if you can't use the blockchain in the way that you want to use it, because it's being censored in certain ways through, you know, your means of access, then I would say that goes to, you know, its decentralization, or the level to which you would deem it decentralized. But, you know,
I think we're going to end up down that same scenario we had with the conversation with Tangent last time. I
tend to agree with him on that point. I believe that I think that Bitcoin's probably the most censorship resistant. But
I would probably agree.
But I think Ethereum just has so much more good shit that you can do. And if Ethereum could get to, or, you know, Pulse Chain could get to that level of censorship resistance, then you know, it's going to take over. I think it's going to take over the world anyway.
Whatever it's going to be digital. Like, money's digital already, whether we like it or not. We've got that little bit of cash that we're allowed to play with at the moment. I think that's coming to an end soon. But money, for most part, is digital. It's just, at the moment, it's all controlled by private ledgers, banks and Visa and things like that. So we're looking at, you need that decentralized layer so that the money system runs on top of that. It is digital. It's we live in a highly digitized world now, so it makes sense to have digital currencies. I hope it, like, without a doubt, we're going to get central bank digital currencies forced down our throat, and that looks like that's if that's not commonplace within the next 3 years, I'll be amazed, because everyone's making pretty big inroads to do that. But I guess that's our opportunity as it stands at the moment, is to hold our ground and hopefully usher in something that's brought about by the people as opposed by governments. That's my hope. That's what I'm. And it sounds stupid. Like, everyone goes, "Oh, you're in it for the tech," and yeah, look, we're all here for mad gains. We all know that. But there's a lot more for me. And I know for you as well, 43. There's a lot more to it than that. Great to make money, but it's more about freedom and freedom to do with your own money how you choose and live your life on your own terms. So that's
So I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week. I transferred some funds over here to a bank account that's held by my family member over here. Just it took like over a week for the funds to arrive. B, when I wanted to go take it all out, they wouldn't let the person take it all out. They're like, "Oh no, you got to come back every week and take out a bit." What?
Oh, yeah. I
fuck?
think it might have been. I'm not sure if it was in our private chat you were talking about this, or whether it was on stream last week. But yeah, like when you're dealing with things like Western Union or banks, it's not your money.
It was a bank. Yeah, no. So this is what the manager said, because I was there with them, and they said, "Well, why do you need the money? I'm on holiday. How do I pay for things?" And they said, "Well, just use a card." And I said, "I don't have a bank account here, and I don't want to be fleeced for fees every single time I go and pay for something, charging me $5 or $10 fees every single time just to use my own money. So just pay in cash." And he's like, "Yeah, but you're not allowed to have so much cash." I'm like, "What? Yes, you are. I'm allowed to have as much cash as I want. Cash is cash. It's money. Cash is cash." I know you can't do certain transactions in cash. I understand that, like beyond a certain, I think, threshold. Even in Australia, I believe over $10,000, there's a threshold for business transactions of $10,000 in cash.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there is for personal transactions or not. I don't. I've never
not too
had
sure
that.
on that one. Not too sure.
Never had that situation, so it's never been an issue. But over here, it's like, want to take out.
What's worse? So, Bluey's over in Vegas. He rolled up to. Oh, sure, he won't mind us saying this, but he rolled up to the hotel, and in the meantime, between when he last used his credit card and when he got to the hotel, ANZ had locked off access to his credit card and his account. So he literally could not get into the hotel. Like you had to have someone that was a local, so one of the other Hexicans, come down and actually vouch for him and sign him into the hotel. So
I've had that situation before. Yeah.
You're traveling and they cut your funds off. You're screwed.
Yeah,
there's not much you can do about it. So
you got to go over with multiple cards. I think you got to have multiple cards with different institutions, and then a bit of cash. And I do believe a lot of hotels will take a cash deposit. Usually they'll take a couple of thousand cash deposit.
Don't know. I didn't. I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't know if it was off the back of Bluey's incident or not, or the fact I'm in the middle of planning a longer holiday myself. And I actually don't think you could go and pay cash at a hotel. I'm not even sure if they let you do that these days, because they like to have a swipe of your card in case you raid the mini bar or throw a fridge out the window or something like that. So I don't even know if that.
I think you can leave a cash deposit if you've got cash. I think you can have a cash deposit, but it would be so unusual that the manager might not even know the rules relating to that. That they have, but
maybe that's what happened. Maybe all these Hexicans rolled up and they seen what happened last time, and they didn't want to let Bluey in because they knew there'd be fridges chucked out the windows and wild parties. Well, you're just getting coffees brought to you, are you?
Yes.
Living the dream in Italy there. Speaking of which, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think the Freddie Quotes party might have ended a bit early, hey?
Oh, really? What happened?
I think they got kicked out for noise complaints or something.
Oh, really? Okay.
I could be wrong, but I thought that's what Sammy said.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame, hey?
Yeah.
So someone asked...
They look like they're having fun over there.
Yeah. It's a shame none of them could get on, but it's like very early morning over there. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning in Vegas. So as I said before, they're either out partying still somewhere or they're in bed.
Yeah, it's good.
So I wanted to ask you a question. So I recently got my hands on the updated Ledger Nano S Plus. Mm-hmm. It's the new version, which holds heaps of apps now.
Yep.
And I was using it, and I know that I just wanted to get your take on this one little aspect of Trezor T use and Ledger Nano use.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've used all of them. So
Mm-hmm.
with the ledger, I can put a passphrase hard coded into it,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that gives me the ability to just put in a pin and then access that passphrase.
Correct.
On the Trezor,
Mm-hmm.
you get the option to either enter it on your computer, which I don't think anyone should ever do. I think you should always use the device and put it in on the, or you put it on the device. But you need to do it every single time. You can't you can't code it into it, into the device itself. So if you're doing stuff over a long period of time and it times out or whatever, you find yourself having to put in that passphrase. And if you've generated a phrase that's, any good, it's not going to be like 3 or 4 characters. It's going to be a nice long passphrase, which takes a bit of time. And I just wanted to know what were your thoughts on that? Do you think that Trezor could maybe update that in some way to make it a bit easier?
I hope they don't.
No?
So I'll tell you my thoughts on it. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So there's, when you set up the ledger, you have a primary pin that you put in, and that's how to get into the device. And that is, that's the one that will allow you to set extra passphrases and stuff. And then you can do a secondary pin, which is one linked to a passphrase.
Yeah.
Now, the problem I have with that is...
Or you can do it, the other option is just to, on the spot, put in a passphrase just on the spot using that function in the menu. But that, so I've never used that.
You can use the 2 keys that the ledger gives
and
you
that's
on top
painful.
to cycle through. It's a pain in the ass. And so then what people do is they then store them as a pin associated one. Now, the problem I have with that is manyfold, but let's start with the basics. So I've had people where they put a passphrase in, and because they're not regularly seeing or using the passphrase, they're just putting in a pin. They just forget the passphrase, and then something goes wrong with the device, and you don't know your passphrase. They're fucked. So I've had people do that. I've also had people set up. So with Trezors, I've got multiple Trezors, and on each of those Trezors, I have multiple passphrases. So you can have an infinite amount of passphrases.
And that's a problem for the ledger. That's a problem.
That is a problem for if you're going to manually put them in each time, you can have as many as you like. But I said, it's a pain in the ass
to do that. It is a pain in the ass. Yeah. The
Yep.
Trezor screen is a lot easier, but that is still a pain in the ass. Like I find it's still. A pain
I'll go into
in the
that in a bit more. I'll explain. I use mine a bit differently to yours, obviously. Now, the worst thing about the ledger, and this is an undocumented bug or feature, is if I think there's a maximum of 2 passphrases that you can link to a pin. Now, the problem being, if you go and put a third one in, now I was helping someone, and it was a while back, so I'm not exactly sure on what the outcome was, but it was one or two things. Either it overwrote the one previous to it, and then they thought they were putting in one pin and it was related to a different passphrase, or there was some confusion there. Or what was even worse is it damaged the primary pin somehow, and we had to
reset the whole
initialize
thing.
the device.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly what it was, but I actually logged a case with Ledger on that one, and their comment was, "Oh yeah, that we know that's a thing, but just don't do it. Don't put more than 2." And there's nowhere in their documents that it says that. So maybe they've changed in later maybe they've changed that in later firmwares, but yeah.
Maybe they didn't have the ability to change it on the Ledger Nano S, but they might have changed something on the Ledger Nano S Plus. Possibly. Just because it's got a lot more. I think it's because the difference between how many apps you could store like I could sometimes only store, if you have Bitcoin on there and Ethereum, you basically can't get any other apps onto a Ledger Nano S.
Honestly,
on the
Nanos
Plus,
are a piece of shit. Yeah.
look, there's some things that I like about nanos. There's some things that they do that, and I'll talk to you about it off in the green room.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that I like about that I haven't been able to. I've been able to do certain things that I haven't been able to do with the Trezor, and maybe it's just me not being able to do it, but it's just been easier to do with the Ledger. But
oh look, no, there's no doubt there's more coin support. So that if you need to support a raft of shit coins, then yeah, that's your go-to. They always get support.
They're also a lot cheaper, like significantly cheaper.
Yeah, for a reason, man. They're a pile of shit.
Yeah.
I've personally had 2 of them fail, and I've helped other people where they've had failures as well. So on S's, the buttons always screw up. On the X's, the expensive one, the battery goes flat and then the device doesn't work. Shouldn't even have a battery in it.
Yeah. It shouldn't have Bluetooth either.
No. Yeah, it's got Bluetooth and all this other shit in it. Like I
think that Bluetooth, I don't think it's dangerous. Like I don't think it's gonna, but you just don't know. You don't know if I don't like it. I've never had one of them. I've just had I'm surprised you've gone back and used a Ledger after using a Trezor, because everyone that there's a good reason.
Get a Trezor and try it out. Yeah, it could.
Dude, I've got
maybe.
Bro, don't worry. I got them fucking everywhere, mate. Like everywhere, unopened, unopened Trezors, mate.
Oh, we're twins, mate.
I've got the Ledgers as well, mate. So
yeah, I got more hardware wallets in my life than what
these are actually all gifts. They're all like, yeah. But yeah, man, it's like I think like for a newbie who's not that tech savvy, I think there's one thing about like the Trezor like authorization signing process that is a little bit like clunky. You know how like it comes up with those pages that you need to confirm and okay.
When you're doing a transaction.
I'm mean, look, I'm sure there's a good reason for them, but I would love it if they weren't there, because that just makes it a little bit clunky for people who aren't, if people who aren't very, I'm trying people aren't very tech savvy. So that sort of stuff that scares them when they have a pop up. It's like, what the hell is this? What have I done wrong? And I guess they just need to be explained what's going on.
I've found the opposite. I've worked with a lot of people with different range of technical skills, young and old and everywhere in between, and everyone finds the Trezor. If you get the right Trezor, don't get the cheap one, get the expensive one. If you get the expensive Trezor, the user experience is just streets ahead of the...
How much is that Trezor these days? It's not cheap.
I think. Oh, here's another one for you. So I ordered those 3 that I just showed you there. I ordered 3 of those devices, and I think they run, don't quote me, might be about 200, 250 Aussie for one of those. Actually, it might be a little bit more.
No, they're more. In euros, they're euros each, dude. They're 3 euros.
Yeah.
So 300 euros is probably about, it's closer to 400. It's closer to 400 bucks, mate. That's 400. It's probably over 400 bucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've got like a special deal for Australia, like where they try and like maybe reduce, they subsidize some of the price so it's a bit more affordable, but it would be well over the $400 if it's, and that's pricey, dude. Like I bought 3 of them.
Yeah, that's good.
And
that must have gone up recently, I swear, because I didn't pay that much, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I did do though, and I wasn't aware of this. So I had them sent direct from, I think is it the Czech Republic where they're manufactured, either France or Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
So I had them shipped over to Australia, and they got held up in the courier for a customs fee, and I got sent the customs fee, extra $200 to get through customs, because I think the total of the bill came to, I think it was $1,040. But if you go over the $1,000 mark, you get hit with the import duties, and I didn't realize this, so it cost me another $200 on top just to get the suckers in there. Yeah, so someone's saying they've gone up $100. That's just recent, literally, because I ordered those probably 3 weeks ago, or got them 3 weeks ago. So that is getting expensive now.
Yeah,
$400 just to protect your shit.
I agree. I agree that the Trezor is the better device. I really do. I agree with you. There's a couple of things I like about having the Ledger. Once again, I will go over that with you after. But yeah, Trezors are great. It's just that one thing about it timing out and then having to put in that long ass bloody passphrase every single time on the screen.
You shouldn't have to do that. Like you can set the time out, and two, it caches the last one you had in there. So you should be fine.
It's just that sometimes what the website will do is it will just go to that screen of having to enter it in. So you have to enter it in at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure when it times out or how it times out, but it just sometimes does. When it's been connected, maybe I've been sitting there for an hour not using it, and then I go through to sign a transaction, and then it just asks me to redo it.
Yeah, I've got one sitting here plugged in now. It's been plugged in, and I shouldn't do this. I've had it plugged in for over a day, and it still holds the last known passphrase in it. Yeah. Sorry, we've got a few questions here. So,
okay, which one?
So Ledger devices can't have more than 2 accounts on it. No, you can have more than 2 accounts. So we'll break it down. So you can fire up a hardware wallet, and you can have as many Ethereum accounts in that hardware wallet as you choose. So that you don't. When we talk about accounts, you can have as many addresses as you like. Infinite addresses. Yep. What we're talking about is when you passphrase protect your hardware device. So you add another, essentially a 13th word or a 25th word over the top of your device, and that gives you a logical separation of the device. So you can have infinite number of those as well. So you can have one hardware device and as many passphrase sections over the top of that. On the Ledger, though, they limit you to storing 2 of them linked to a pin, and that's where you just have a few issues on the Ledger. On the Trezor, no limits like that. You can have infinite number of passphrases as well, but you can't link a passphrase to a pin. So that's what we're talking about, is the little nuance there. But there is that bug in the Ledgers for sure.
And obviously we don't know what the new one allows you to do. That updated version, because it obviously has more capacity. There's more capacity. So who knows why the other one wasn't fixed? Maybe they worked and fixed it on the new one. I don't know.
And someone else has put the expensive Trezor can't even generate a 24 seed word passphrase. I'm not sure that's true.
Well, look,
I'd have to go back. It doesn't sound like things you can do.
I would question why you would trust any of these devices to generate. Unless you really are familiar with how it happens.
So
I would say
you're one of these guys. You generate your own seed words, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't go to that extent.
Yeah.
I trust that the device is doing it.
Yeah. It's not that hard to do, man. It's just like, it's not that hard to do. You just have to. It's more a time thing. You spend to generate a new seed phrase. If you want a 24-word seed phrase, you might spend half an hour doing it. But just think about how important that seed phrase is.
So how are you doing that? Are you using Dice or what? What's your?
You can use Dice, or you can flip a coin. Just basically any non-digital method to generate randomness.
So how do you do it? I've never done that. So what's your process of doing that?
Well, the last time I did it, I flipped a coin many times
to derive those. So what do you? what are you flipping it to arrive at?
To derive the binary.
Right. Oh, okay. So you got the binary for each word.
11 for each, right?
Okay. So you flip it 11 times.
So the
gives you
11 binary things is between 0 and 2047.
Yep.
So you're getting you need 11 flips of a coin to get a 1 or a 0 for each word.
Yep.
Because that will give you a number between 0 and 2047, which is a word in the list. Now, the only thing that you have to, do differently in that is the last word is a checksum.
Yep.
So
how do you work out the checksum?
Well, there's a mathematical equation you can use, which I can't be bothered. I use a program, an offline program. Yep. You can find it in the Ian Coleman suite of, There's actually some really good programs. Like there's one that if you've forgotten a word or one word isn't written down properly, you can actually type all the words in there. You wouldn't do this online. You would do this on an offline machine. And when I say an offline machine, I don't mean a machine that you've just disconnected from Wi-Fi. I mean a machine that's only ever been on. So you can use something else. That's a good option. And you'd go into this. It's a browser-based application. And you type in all the words in this browser-based application. And then the word that is missing, you just put a question mark there and it will give you the word. Now, the only situation where it will give you multiple words is when it's the last word, because the checksum could be a whole range of different, checksum word could be a whole range of different words. When you've got, so yeah, that's the process, man. I just think it's nice to be able to.
I don't think the average user would do that, mate.
Probably not. Probably not. But
No, good on you for going to that length. I probably should go that far. I guess I haven't trusted the software on the device, and that's why I brought it. So.
Which is, look, it's the software on the device is probably a-okay. We have to trust software, man. I trust software for Shamir's. I trust that the Shamir's software. I do double check everything, but I trust that the software that I use is giving me the correct stuff. I go and double check it to make sure, but we've got no choice. I'm trusting Restream.
Someone said
right
enough
now.
Talk on hardware wallets, but I'm going to finish off with one word of warning, because this happened literally last week. When you generate any words for your seed words, whether you've done them in the way Day 43 does, or you let the device do them, or however it's done, whatever software is doing it, before you send any significant amounts of money to that wallet, or before you stake a long-term stake on that wallet, do a test restore. Make sure those words that you've written down actually restore and give you the address you think you should, because I had a person, and I had to actually brute force the seed words to find the incorrect word that was, and unfortunately it was just one word that was screwy, but we had to brute force the seed words to recover the account because they had written one word down wrong, and they thought they'd lost all their pulse sac and their pulse x sac. So
can I give an alternative method, rather than, if you can't be bothered going through the rigmarole of resetting the device and entering everything again, you can use the Ian Coleman BIP39 tool. Because I'll tell you why, how this, because when you use that tool, you can obviously, once again, it's totally offline.
It's got to be offline,
completely offline. You would never do this online, ever. But you type in those words and you set that it's Ethereum. If there's a passphrase, you put that in, and then down below it gives you all the derivations, and then you can go and open up MetaMask with that device, and if the addresses are the same as in what's in the Ian Coleman tool, then it would be basically impossible for them to be. If they're the same, I don't see how there's. Although, are you saying that you might have entered the words incorrectly? You might have selected the wrong words. but I guess it would give you different. It would give you different addresses if they were the wrong. If they were different words.
Addresses.
Yeah. So that's how I avoid doing that. You know.
I'll just put it in chat. If you Coleman 39. So if you've got a passing interest in anything that we've just discussed and you want to further your knowledge on it, go check out. Just Google Ian Coleman VIP 39.
So it's on GitHub as well.
Yeah, and they've got it's basically a web page where you can tinker around with the tool and generate. I think by default it tries to generate a 15-word seed phrase, but change that to 12 words or 24 and generate a seed word and just see how the addresses are derived, and it'll give you a much deeper understanding of what your wallet software or hardware is doing in the background. It's really worth playing around a little bit. Just spend 20 minutes playing around with that tool, and I think you'll learn a lot.
Yeah.
T-Bird's right. Just write the damn words down correctly. You think it would be that simple, man, but I've had so many people fuck it up and then come back and go, I can't get into my wallet.
Use big letters, no cursive. Use big letters.
Yeah.
You know?
And especially like passphrases. If you write a passphrase down and you put a space in it, or you've got a capital or whatever, write a bit of text next to it. Oh, this is a space. This is a capital. Just so you don't cock it up. See, people do it so often.
And once again, I think Tails, the operating system Tails, which you can have on a USB device, you can plug it into your laptop or PC and boot from there, and you've got this separate operating system which is not connected to the internet. You know, it's a great.
That's for us nerds, mate. That's the kind of shit we like doing.
Bro, everyone in crypto is a fucking nerd. Everyone in crypto is a fucking nerd. Tell me, hey, guys in the chat, tell me I'm wrong. You're all fucking nerds. You know that. There are people Googling Tails right now. I guarantee you. Yeah, that's a great operating system to just, you don't want to have you can just load it up on any device pretty much. And it's just a great little tool to have in your arsenal.
Yeah, different. CV's got to write just different degrees of nerds.
Let's have a look at so should we? Do you want to talk about anything to do with Hex at all? Is there anything that we want to cover?
You asking chat or?
Everyone.
Or me? Everyone? Anyone? Yeah, if you got chat, we're pretty easy going for conversation tonight. So if you guys want to chuck anything you want us to discuss, we're going to have a lot more time to talk about things tonight.
Some people get excited by this talk. Some people enjoy the hardware wallet talk.
It's like nerd porn, is it?
When Pulse Chain. When Pulse Chain will be when it comes. I think, what is there to say apart from, at this stage, let it be fully operational, and I'm willing to wait.
It seems the community has found plenty to keep themselves busy in the meantime. We've probably had too much time on our hands, to be honest. It's brought out the good, the bad, the ugly, but that's okay. That's what having a diverse community is all about. Looks like Day 43's rugged on me.
No,
he's still there.
I'm here.
Actually, one thing I did want to bring up is the Twitter space that is going to be happening on the 8th. So on the 8th US time with Richard, and apparently I'm pretty sure I got this right, co-founder of Netflix, which is a little bit interesting. I don't know how that one.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is he still like a part of the business?
Don't know. He might have just been early there and has moved on. I'm not too sure. Maybe if chat knows anything more, fire it in there. But there was a.
Go on. Sorry, mate. I was interrupting.
It was just a tweet came up of. I'm just put the tweet on Notify, so that when it comes up, we can check it out. But yeah, go for it, mate. What were you going to say?
T-Birds just put up there. Good time to be taking profits on Hedron. You reckon?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Who knows? But it could be a double top, or all of the weak hands have dropped all their Hedron, and now there's not much left, and the people who have got it are maybe just waiting for, bidding on HSIs.
I'll tell you my thoughts on it. So someone's just put in there, Godwell brought 1 trillion Hedron today. I don't think that's true. I think he staked 1.2 trillion either today or yesterday, but I don't think he would have brought a trillion. You would have seen the price just explode if he had done that.
Yeah. The price would be at 50 cents by now. He'd bought the trillion.
But the fact that he staked it is, so one, he could have dumped it, chose not to. So he obviously is respecting the protocol. He staked it, so he's proven that he's locking it up for a year. So that's out of circulation for a year. Now the downside to that is that just decimated everyone's share in the pool on the Hedron staking. So I haven't gone in. I've got stake. I've participated in every part of the system, so I'd have to go back and check and see what sort of impact that's had on the Hedron staking side of things.
Do we know? I've got a question, and I just haven't been bothered to go find out what the answer is. Maybe I'm going to put it out there to Jexa and other people in the chat. What are the end stake penalties for Hedron? If someone ends a stake in Hedron, a Hedron stake, does it touch your principal?
Yeah, it does. So it's a linear fee or penalty.
So if you stake for 30 days, let's say you stake 1 billion Hedron for 30 days, if you end it in the first day, you'll lose the whole lot, basically, or maybe 1/30th.
Oh, you might lose 99%.
Yep. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
principal and interest. Yep.
Yeah. So if you go 50% of the way through, you'll lose 50%. If you go
30%
of the way through, you'll lose 70%.
Be careful, people. Be careful out there. Yep.
50% principal, 50% on yield, early penalties from memory. So someone's saying 1% serve, 90% penalty. I thought it would have been 99%, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
All right. So it's clear to me that there's a few diverse opinions on this right now, and we need to get a confirmation, whether it be from Blue Bum himself, who
I think I'm right, but I could happy to be proven wrong. Yeah. So I could put it this way: you don't want to be doing it unless for some reason the price just goes astronomical, and you go, "Wow, I've just got to take it a bit." But even then, that's crazy.
But then you still have to do that calculation of how much will I lose, and you want to know how much that is, and you want to know the maths behind it. For example, in Hex, we know that if you're staked in Hex, that you need to serve half of that stake to get your principal back. After you've served half of the days of the stake, let's say you've got 100-day. No, sorry, that's a bad example. Let's say you've got a 1,000-day stake. You as long as you do 500 I would do 501 just to be careful, and you'll get your principal back, and you won't get any interest or big payday if you stake before big payday.
But you know what? We've seen a lot of people blowing shit up recently too. In the last week, I've seen every couple of days I see someone else nuke a stake or take a big heavy loss on their interest. So people are still doing it, and I don't know whether, obviously the people that nuke it, I just don't think they understand how the system works. There's no one in their right mind that would understand how the system works and nuke a stake.
Yeah.
So they obviously don't.
And people like Dorsey said it here as well. And that's why I said, when I said 100 days, that's why I said, oh, that's a bad example, because don't forget the 90-day rule.
Yeah.
You got to serve 90 days at least. Otherwise, even if you do a 90-day stake, you can't get halfway through that and get your principal back. You have to do it 90 days to get your your principal back, if it's a 180-day stake. Right.
Yep.
So if you had a 180-day stake, you would have to do 90 days to get your principal back. But even if it's a 100-day stake, you still have to do 90 days to get your principal back.
Yeah. So Mudhog's just come back as well and confirmed that he put the wrong thing in there. So it is linear, where it's
linear. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard it's linear.
But yeah, Hedron, man, it's been on an absolute pump, and I know a lot of people. So I said I'd sort of say my theory on it. I think there was obviously a lot of Hedron was given out for free, and in the very first pump when it launched, we seen a lot of people dump the shit out of it. Now, some of those guys would have brought back in. Some of them probably just said, "Look, it's free money. I'm going to take it and run," and brought Hex or brought a carton of beer or whatever they wanted to do with it. Then we've seen it bottom out. Icosa's launched after that washout, and then the true, and I'll say the true genius of the system. People have actually understand it now. Like now that we've got all the other pieces of the puzzle laid out in front of us, you can understand what the system was intended to do. I think from the get-go. I believe other people have been all along. So now people have seen another massive run up, and it's gone up 15x or something, even more, I think, over in the last 60, 70 days. So we've seen a round of profit taking for sure, but we've also seen a lot of people that haven't just insta-dumped everything that's in their wallet. They're taking a little bit of cream off the top, but they're still going along for the ride. So when you see a big run up like you can see on the screen there, you're going to get profit taking at various levels. And the last round was done just below the all-time high. Seen a good drawdown, caught an important level. Can you zoom in on that at all, Day43? Can we get a better? Maybe if you drag the pricing bit down where it's got all the trades, if you can drag that down so we get a bit more screen. Yeah. And just chuck him on log, mate.
So it doesn't make much difference, the log.
Yeah. So it caught a really important level. And so it's like a cup and handle sort of formation that it's done there. And maybe the next day or two, that'll be really important if it reaches that all-time high.
It will be interesting to see, because sometimes these things, it's hard to tell, like, because it's still early days. This thing has only been out for like 6 months, not even, or maybe just 6 months. So it's hard to tell what's going to happen. But if you look at the ecosystem and you look at what's coming, you would think that it's bullish for Hedron, because anyone wants to bid on these. There's going to be all these auctions of these HEC instances that the Icosa launch phase produced, and people are going to be able to bid on those, and you can only bid on them with Hedron. So if people want Hedron, they have to buy them at sort of these prices now, don't they? Unless they wait, but you just don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to keep going up? Is it going to come down? It's just hard to know. So it's just interesting dynamics happening. But I hate to try and predict what will happen. I don't know.
So I'm a big believer, same as you, that markets will do whatever a market wants to do, and just when you think you've got it all figured out, you'll get walloped and taught a lesson. What's interesting with Hedron, so with Icosa and Hedron, there's a bit of maths that flows through the system, and you can calculate what a price should be for those assets. Well, we keep using fair value, but it's it's a shitty thing to call it, but based on the price of Hex and some of the other mechanics in the system, you can say, okay, well, Icosa should be worth roughly this much, and that's found its stability point there from what we can tell. And then you can look at Hedron and go, well, really, it should be at this level, and this level is about at least I haven't checked it the last day or two, but last time I checked, I think it was about an 8 to 12x or something like that from where we were. So maybe a 6 to 8x from current price, I would imagine. I'd have to drag it up and have a look, but that's where you could say fundamentally that's where it should sit, and whether the market will let it do that, that's a whole different ballgame. Because if you've got,
you're saying
people
6
like
to 8 from here, 6 to 8 from here.
Don't quote me. Let me just have a quick look. I'll have a quick look while we're on.
So you'd like up here on the chart, somewhere up here. Is that what you reckon?
Somewhere, yeah.
If this turned into some massive parabola, you could see that happening, couldn't you? And I mean, look, if it's all in the context of a pulse chain launch happening, people going into Hex to get the copy on the pulse chain side, all of that is going to feed into Hedron being more expensive as well. If Hex does well, they are linked.
Yeah, so if I was to put an X on it from here, I'd say, 7X. Don't take that as
financial advice.
Not financial advice, because markets could do, there's a lot of Hedron floating around, and it depends on, do people that are holding it respect it and go, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and go for the ride. And that's what I'm saying. I think there's been a round of profit taking where people have seen this thing shoot up and gone, you know what, I'm just going to take a bit off the table. But are they going to let it run up? I think potential of where it should be.
I think there's definitely the potential for more pain later on this year. As far as Hedge concerned, though, just at the moment, the difference between the last top and this where we are right now is that a lot of the OGs dumped their Hedron back here in March, April, and sent the price right down. So a lot of those people, while they're still accumulating Hedron now, they don't have the bags that they used to have. So it's it'll be interesting to see.
A lot of people didn't understand the system either. So a lot of people just went, you know what, this is free money. We're just going to keep infinitely printing this, and if people are going to FOMO into this, then we're going to offload and take a quick profit. But I think a lot of people that have been in Hex for a long time, the switch has flicked and they've gone, oh, this is actually a pretty good system. So I think there's been a change in sentiment from that point of view as well. I think you've gone muted, mate.
Would you be able to hold the fort for about a minute?
Yeah, sure.
I'm
been
sorry,
drinking too much coffee.
No. I just have an unhappy. I'll tell you what I'll do though, just to keep. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on.
If you're going to put up the one I think you're going to put up, it's going to be a short conversation. You're right.
Which one did you think I was putting up?
The one from Jace. He's throwing me under the bus.
No, I haven't. No, I wasn't putting up a message. I was going to put up this chart here, but it's just my daughter was crying, and
You're right,
I thought I needed to go, but I have to rescue.
You need to do what you got to do, man.
All good, mate. All good. Sorted.
So talk about Scimitar. I've heard too much about that, and I know nothing about it. You got to watch Randy Halasky for that.
Okay, there we go. This is the one. Scimitar. I don't know what Scimitar is. It's a Jewish thing, isn't it?
I don't know if it's Jewish or not, but it's cycle of the moons in 7-year cycles or some shit. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think it
I
was.
didn't get into
I
it.
thought it was a Jewish thing. I thought it was like some
It
Jewish.
could well be, yeah. And it's something to do on 7-year cycles or something like that.
If you are a Jew
For
and
me-
you're watching, please tell me. Is this a Jewish thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought it was.
You'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like the maxi price. It's sort of not what we want to see. We want to see a chart of hex versus maxi, right?
Yes, so if you hit on, yeah, that's right. So if you switch to price in hex, that button up the top,
Where's that?
next to the sort of the cross thing.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
That's
fine.
what I wanted. Oh, we got up to 2.6. Damn.
So
that's insane. Look at that.
That was a big spike. I mean, it's to be. Is it to be expected? Like, it's off the back of what's going on with the minting of team, you think the price of maxi should go up.
I don't think you can deem it to be the same sort of thing as your regular just token, because
no.
And the reason for that is that the people who are contributing to Max are hexagons, different breed of enthusiasts. Like they believe in delaying gratification. So there's that point. But B, you're doing it so you're doing it as a alternative in your hex, like yourself, and you're doing it in a pool. So, by the way, it is a Jewish thing. Thank you. Yep. Is that right? Or Orlon?
Yeah, let's roll with that.
Yeah, so the people who are doing this, who contributed to the maxi stake, they were like mentally committed to like, yes, I'm going to do this maxi thing. It goes for 15 years. So it's not easy to separate the person from that state of mind. You have to be like a cold, hard, like trader who just into it to then like dump it. I don't think that's what we've got in the pool of people who own maxi. I think those people are in it for a long run, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, so for me, I brought a Swagger maxi, and for me, it was getting. I wanted the benefit of a 15-year stake, but with flexibility. So it wasn't like I was in it for a quick flip. I was buying it because it was just it gave me that flexibility, but with the rewards that I would have probably would have chucked a big 15-year stake out anyway. So this is just those funds were getting sent out there anyway in my mind. So I think a lot of people have that sort of mindset that have got this, and that's why I think the price has done really well. Even like before there was the announcement of the team tokens and things like that, it held its value because there wasn't many of them on market, and the people that brought them wanted to keep them. They weren't in a hurry to dump them. They had to give up their hex to get it in the first place. So I don't think it was ever a short-term play, that's for sure. But now that the team pledging's come out, it has kicked it into overdrive, because it's now every maxi is going to be worth substantially more hex at the end. To the tune of let's see what happens after the pledging period's up. But if today's any indication of the support it's going to get, because the game theory would suggest that people might want to hold off until the very last phase of the minting period, just to see how many people got into team and see whether that was going to be worthwhile or not. So obviously if only one or two people minted team, then it would make it worthwhile to chuck your hat in the ring and be part of that pool, because there would be a large amount of rewards that would get spread between a very small number of people in the team pool. So there was the game theory sort of lent itself to just holding back a little bit and seeing what everyone was doing with that. But it appears a lot of people have aped into it on the first day, which is good. It's good to see support for it. Yeah,
Yep.
be interesting to see how it plays out over the next 20 days, that's for sure. And like I said,
is that how long it goes for? 3 weeks?
Yep. Yeah. So so that's everything. So pledging for, so minting team and also minting any of the perpetuals runs for the next 20 days. The game theory was less so with the perpetuals. In my mind, I sat back. I didn't do anything today because I wanted to see whether there was going to be good support for the perps, because then obviously that's when you get the bigger pays better bonuses when there's more people in the pool, and there's been good support for it. So yeah, on those ones I don't see any tactical benefit to holding back, and now that we know teams looking pretty good as well, if that's your thing as well, you can see that that's getting a lot of support. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens to the maxi supply out at the end of the 20 days.
Yes. Usually these things tend to slow down. Like all the people who are quite enthusiastic, blow their load in the first couple of days, 2 or 3 days. So, sometimes they seem to slow down. That didn't really happen. Did that happen with Maxi? I was trying to think back.
I was thinking back on that, and I think there was like
the first end.
I think the first few days, maybe the first 3 or 4 days, it was just like, oh yeah, it's getting some support, and then very early on, it went ballistic, and they hit the 150 mil mark, which that was the thing, that was the trigger I was looking for. Was okay, is this thing going to fly? And then as soon as that happened, then it just snowballed, and everyone piled in, and then it actually quietened off towards the end, I think. So everyone had gotten their positions, and it sort of tailed off towards the end. So yeah, I don't know how it'll play out this time. But there is a bit of game theory in that. So which I'll keep some of that to myself.
Of course. I was just looking for that an answer in relation to Ledger, but I'll have to look a bit deeper and see if I can find something later on. So we're actually doing another stream later on. When I say we, there's a stream set up for Sammy and Blue Bum, who are in Vegas, out partying all night. So they're going to come and stream to you at 8 o'clock in the morning, assuming they wake up on time to stream. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But that's in, let me check. What time is it now? So that would probably be in about 2 hours from now, roughly. After Wake Up Hex. It would be after Wake Up Hex. Yep. So if you guys want to check that out, once again, assuming they make it, I don't know how reliable Australians are in the US. I don't know how reliable they are when they're on holidays. So
I know I wouldn't be very reliable if I was on holidays.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that'll save them is because they're actually over there for a Pulse Hex thing. That might keep them encouraged. But if I was over in Vegas, I'd be a no-show.
Yeah. No, I think, you know what? I think it's very well worth doing just for the memory of doing a live stream while you're there. It's worth it. It's worth it just for that, like that moment. That it's like we're either in the hotel room or at the venue, and we're doing this live stream. I don't know. I don't know if it's who's showing up.
So are you coming back on the second show, or that's just going to be Bluey and Sammy?
I'll definitely set it up. I don't really. I don't know. What time is it in Perth at the moment?
Yeah, 9 o'clock here for me, so I definitely won't be on it. But
yeah. So I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully those guys come and hold the fort, you know?
Yep. Yeah, Mudhog's just put in chat the ETH merge thing coming up. That's true. So I think tomorrow, or it could be today, US time, is it Bellatrix upgrade, or I think that's what it's called.
What's this what's this YouTube, T-Bird? What's this link? Have you opened it?
To click on it.
No. Oh, it looks legit, dude.
Oh, maybe that's for the show.
Oh, right. Okay. Thanks, dude. I'm just like, what's this? Yeah. Now that makes sense. That's for the one in 2 hours' time. Sammy Chicker. Yeah, I thought T-Bird was like sending people to a different live stream for a second. I'm like, bro, come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I've got the ETH upgrades coming through. So there's one tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. Which, yeah, like I said, it's just a precursor for the merge. And yeah, it looks like we've got the merge coming on the 14th or 15th. Is what's supposed to be happening. So that could go either way, man. Honestly, there's a pretty big deal. Everyone seems to be pretty comfortable about it. So,
you think it's going to get pushed back?
I don't think it will. Like unless it's an 11th hour thing. Like, there's a lot on the line, so you'd want to be pretty confident that you've got it right before you.
I think it gets postponed.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You think you'd know now if there was a problem? That's the biggest thing.
How many times have they come out at the last minute and said it at the last minute? You know?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a massive undertaking. And they can roll it all out on the test nets, and they've done that on all the various test nets.
All the nodes have to upgrade.
Not everything's running on testnet. There's a lot of things that aren't in the wild on testnet that are on mainnet. So, yeah, who knows? Like, it's a pretty ballsy move to.
All the nodes have to be
car while you're driving down the freeway.
Yeah. It's like there's so much, and I don't know. It's going to take time. It's going to take time to get all the nodes back. They're going to lose a bunch of nodes. I think they're going to lose a bunch of nodes off the network.
So that's why Bitcoin takes so long to do things. Is there's a lot of financial risk there, and you send and receive tokens on Bitcoin. Right? That's nothing compared to what's running on ETH. So it's a big undertaking. But what we have seen apparently is a lot of the miners have already moved across to ETH Classic. So ETH Classic is pumping. I don't know if you checked on that recently, but I think that's gone up 60% in the last day or two. So ETH Classic's been pumping, and for no other reason than these guys need to keep bringing in a revenue. I don't think anything runs on ETH Classic, does it? I don't know. I've never used it.
I've never used it.
So I don't know who's using it. If you're in chat and you've ever used ETH Classic, let us know, because I don't even know how it still exists. I think it's just there to pay miners.
Even if the miners all go over there, that's going to be a short-term thing. I mean,
the price will just get smashed. Like, if you're a miner,
they're just going to be selling the price down, and it's going to,
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I don't know what the miners are going to do.
Yeah, I don't understand having a chain exist just to pay miners, but that's what it seems like it is, because I've never seen anything else on there. I think there's a few things like that where people flick their miners between different coins and stuff. Can they
mine like Litecoin and Doge?
No, not sure, man. Don't know.
I don't know if Litecoin.
I don't know.
They don't have they don't use ASICs, do they?
I don't
use ASICs.
Yeah, look, I don't. I'm going to show my ignorance here because I don't know enough about the mining game to know.
Me neither.
Yeah. Yep. So what Par Excellence has just said as well. It's going to be a race to dump copies on the ETH proof of work. Yeah, so yeah, if that becomes a thing, who knows? Maybe they've got to go somewhere. So you think they're at least going to have a crack at firing up their own network? Like it would make sense for the miners to have a go. Like what have they got to lose? They've either got to scrap their equipment or point it somewhere else, and there's nowhere else that's going to support that amount of hash power and be sustainable for everyone. So I think I'd be very surprised if they didn't at least have a crack at running a proof of work chain. And then, so the question for us becomes, okay, do we have a crack at jumping on there and seeing if we can sell some assets down? But like Mudhog's just put, don't even know if there's going to be a bridge. Like, you can point your MetaMask to this new network, and all the same issuers on Pulse Chain, all the stables are going to be worthless. So if you've got ETH or another token sitting over there, or your Hex, you've got a bunch of Hex sitting over there, what do you sell it into to save it?
Hey, we're making an assumption here. Like, we're making an assumption that proof of stake ETH is going to work out.
Oh yeah, it could fall flat on its face.
If it falls flat on its face, the default is going to be...
The miners will be the heroes, won't they?
That's going to be the default. That's the people will be using that chain, right? So, and I think you need on and off ramps, right? For crypto.
Unless you got bridges, yeah.
You need either a bridge or to a chain that does an on and off ramp, or you need a direct on and off ramp, or ideally you want both, right? Ideally you want both. So
I think there was going. I'm not going to be able to tell
minimum
you the exchange, but I think there was one exchange that said they would support it if it happened, and I can't remember which one it was now.
Yeah.
But basically, you need. You're right. You might fire up this whole new network.
Minimum viability.
But if you fire up that whole network and a majority of people don't even know how to get onto it, do you think how many people are sort of in air quotes in crypto, and they're not really in crypto, they just go to an exchange and trade on an exchange? So those guys, unless the exchange supports getting out onto that new chain, they will be clueless as to how to do it. So you've got a smaller subset of people that are on ETH and know how to point their MetaMask and everything across there. So then there's probably, so you just go down this big funnel where you start off with a big bunch of users, and by the time you get down to the core people that will know how to use it and get across there, it's a very small amount of people.
Yeah. Bridges are usually they're pretty simple and straightforward, right? Using a bridge.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty simple. It's like doing a transaction where you like send funds to an address. Like on 1inch, you can do a swap and send like the funds to a different address if you want in the process of that swap. It's essentially the same process, right? You pay, and it's actually way cheaper than a swap because it's just a send to a local address. You're just sending it locally on the same chain, so it's just the cost of a send, and then sometimes coming back when they have to unwrap.
So you'd be a very brave person that sends anything over there. I wouldn't be sending anything over there because you're locking it in some sort of bridge, which you may never see again. So really,
there is a lot of risk in bridges. A lot of risk in bridges.
Yeah, it would be a one-way. It would be a one-way exodus of assets that are on the proof of work chain being swapped into something they perceive as having value and being able to bridge back across. I don't know. It's going to be pretty crazy. Like maybe the native ETH token on there. That's the only thing I could see that would easily retain value. Like if all your stables are blown out, and you've got a bunch of hex that's got value on there, and you want to try and lock that value in, you push it into the ETH on that proof of work chain, because that's the thing that's likely to be bridged across in any meaningful way.
Yeah, I would feel like that's the thing that's going to have the most liquidity. You know, if you're bridging across, you're going to bridge across the native token, and you've got the best chance of being able to swap that over on the other side for something of value.
That's what the miners are going to get paid in still. So that's what they're expending their energy on. So if you believe in that economic energy that they're expending to mine the network is transferred into that token, then that's the one that I'd be going for.
Well, it would be in the miner's interest to provide that liquidity.
For sure.
On the ETH side, on the proof of stake ETH side,
Yep.
It's in their interest, because they're going to have the tokens on both sides.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So they could do it. It's just in the same way that we're going to be able to do this with Pulse Chain. I mean, I just think that Pulse Chain is going to be so much, like, it's going to have so much good stuff. And I'm really looking forward to the wallet that apparently is getting developed. Apparently, I'm looking forward to this wallet, because I've been playing around with a couple of wallets on some other chains, and bro, like rubbish, like just rubbish, real rubbish. Not not simple and intuitive, and I'm looking forward to seeing what. From what I recall, he was talking about like a wallet that could go and scan the addresses and go find accounts with stuff in it.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, that's what Rabby does. So I went back to I was playing with a new protocol today. I was having some issues with it, and I thought it might have been my browser or Rabby I was using. So I went back to using MetaMask. MetaMask is an absolute pile of shit, guys. Like, it's not good. But in the time it's been alive, it's rarely been improved. It's the features on it are just they're crap. So we need something better.
Why do you think Rabby? Why is it that Rabby don't allow you to change networks? What is that? I mean, that should be a very simple. I would have thought like a simple functionality to have to change those parameters.
I think it's more to do with the features that they give you in the wallet. It means that they obviously need a few things running in the background to be able to do that. So that's not necessarily a great thing. It probably means there's more reliance on their nodes and things like that to deliver those services. So that's my big hang up on it is, we're ending up in that same path. Yeah, you're ending up in that same path where MetaMask relies on Infura, but Rabby, they've obviously got their stuff running in the background that you're beholden to.
So they've got their own stuff.
Well, I'm making assumptions here because it's a bit of a black box. You don't know exactly.
Oh, you can't tell. You don't know what. You can't tell.
You don't know what nodes they're pointing. No.
Have you looked at the source code? Have you looked at the console?
No, I haven't looked at the source code.
I should have a look console at that. when it's working. Yeah. Like sometimes you'll see what. If you look at the console, the developer's console.
I haven't done, no. Yeah, I should do that.
Let's see what's going on.
But there is a lot of nice features in there, and that's obviously they've got to have some level of standardization as to where they're pulling that data from. So whether they've got certain indexing nodes and things like that where they can pull all that data from, because it is pretty cool. Like, it brings up, you can see, like you said, it goes across all the chains and finds all your assets across all the chains that are EVM compatible. Finds all your NFTs, any LP positions, hex stakes. So
hang on, did you just say it does? You can go across other EVM chains.
Yeah, it does it all. It does it all automatically.
Yeah. So there's Gnosis. You can go into Gnosis. Oh, sorry, not Gnosis. Yeah, Gnosis.
Chain.
Yeah, you can go into.
I'm sure that would be there, but I haven't got any assets sitting on there, so I haven't seen it. But Arbitrum.
Yeah, I don't actually either, but I've been looking into it. I've been looking into Gnosis because just looking into it because of the USDC thing, and just DAI and looking into XDAI and all that. Just looking into it. I'm ignorant to it at the moment, but just starting to dig. Bro, we've been going for like an hour and 35 minutes. So I'm not sure if do you want to keep going? Are there any
Well, how are we going,
questions?
Chad? Is there any shit you want to chuck at us that we need to talk about, or?
Yeah, so someone mentioned in the chat before, they were asking about if there are many Lambrettas around. You know, we're talking about like old Italian scooters. So I only see Vespas and other types of scooters, like modern scooters. There's a few old Vespas around. I hardly ever see Lambrettas on the road. There are definitely Lambrettas for sale around the joint, but for the most part, in the part of Italy where I am, Vespas were the preferred option over Lambrettas. So that's what, you know, the majority of what people have out there. If you want to have a look at my Vespa,
plenty of
check it
Fiat
out
cars,
here.
is there?
Lots of Fiat cards. Lots. All of them are Fiat.
What's the other one? They got their other main brand there, the sporty one.
Which one?
Now. Can't remember. No, it's gone. Escaped me.
The pizza. How's the pizza? The pizza is amazing, bro. It's amazing. There's no comparison with, like, I'm used to Australian pizza, right? Australian pizza is a different type of pizza. It's like way thicker. It's like there's more shittier toppings, you know, more toppings, but and also shittier toppings. Whereas like the pizza I'm getting here is like, it's a thinner sort of pastry or thinner bread or dough. And the toppings are just like really high quality, like very, very high quality from a deli. You know, so I think I had a pizza the other night that had like ricotta cheese on it and like Italian pieces of Italian sausage and, you know, some other stuff on there. And it was just, you just don't get that stuff in Australia unless you go to some boutique restaurant.
I heard the pizza's so good over there that you've had to restrict yourself from eating for 2 days.
Bro, I'm doing one day on, 1 day off eating. So I take I say it's a 24-hour period, but it's actually longer because I don't eat breakfast. So I'm essentially eating lunch and dinner on one day and then skipping the next day eating and then doing lunch and dinner the day after.
It's funny. We were talking just before we got on here, and I'd said, I'm just coming off the back of a 48-hour fast. He said, that's interesting. That's what I'm doing as well. Something similar. So, man, you feel good after you do it. It's
yeah.
So I done a 64-hour fast probably 3 weeks ago, and then I rolled into this sort of intermittent fasting where like you just said, you crunch your eating window down to
small window,
6 hours or something like that in a day, and you don't eat. I don't actually feel hungry. You just eat the same, like eat good food in that 6 hours, and you're golden. Saves a lot of time too. You're not preparing meals all day.
That is true, and you also feel a lot lighter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Not less bloated.
So I heard in relation to fasting, or I think I was listening to a podcast with one of these fasting guys who's just like heavy into fasting, and they were like, for like the real benefit is autophagy, where your body cleans out all these old cells and stuff, and it just cleans them out because it's looking for food, and it just goes through the body and cleans out all this stuff. And I think I heard someone saying, and look, you need to go and do your own research, but they were saying something along the lines of you should probably fast for like 3 days, maybe a couple of times a year, 2 or 3 times a year. And that just like, it's as an anti-cancer type exercise. And obviously, if you're going to do that, it's not like you can eat shit in between like the whole time. Just eat crap food, then fast for 3 days, and you're sweet, no cancer. Obviously, you need to look after yourself and all that jazz. But I think that 3 days is very achievable. It's just you got to work your way.
It's not as hard as what you think.
Yeah,
and it's honestly not like and
Yeah.
Don't do this without like understanding why and the how you do it. But spend some time actually doing some research on and look at the Krebs cycle and things like that, because the way we're traditionally taught about nutrition through school, and it just takes governments so long to catch up with the latest science and research, that we're all told that salt's bad for you, fat's bad for you, should be having low fat milk and all, and it's all bullshit. Like that's the total opposite of what you should be eating. Like, so you've got to re-educate yourself on what is actually healthy.
Yeah. And I think the most I've ever done is I've done 3 days before, but it was a while back. Excuse me. But for me, I mean, I just saw someone say second day is the hardest for me. Sandy Beach. Look, I find that it depends what I've eaten a couple of days, like the days before. For me, that first day can sometimes be the hardest. And then when I get into the second day, I'm cruising. I'm just already sort of, just surviving off the fat.
Yeah. So someone just put in chat, does that mean you don't eat anything at all for 3 days? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So just like tea, like black tea, black coffee, water. Just things like that. Nothing that's going to spike your insulin. So
no calories essentially.
No calories. No calories. And you hear that and you go, man, that's nutty. Like your body, that's not good for you. But it actually, when you understand what's going on behind the scenes, it's
actually is good for you. It's good for your metabolism to rest. Yeah,
and it's actually how our bodies. It's how our bodies were actually designed. Like back in the day when you were out chasing woolly mammoths for food,
kangaroos.
Like we didn't have bowls of fruit sitting in front of us all the time and food out of the fridge. Like it just didn't exist. So you had to switch from burning carbohydrates to burning body fat regularly. Like that would have been the normal state for your body to be in. So not nutritional advice.
Yeah. This is no way. I'm just sharing what I'm currently doing, and I'll give you the reason why I'm doing it. It's because here the food is just too good. DEXA, I don't know, bro, the food is so good. It's so rich. It's so good that.
But they eat the right stuff there, man.
Bro, how? It's how do I do that? I don't know how I do that.
That's the Mediterranean diet. That's the best diet.
In Sardinia, maybe, not in Sicily. In Sicily, it ain't that. Bro, it's too hard. When if I was living by myself, I could be disciplined, militant about what I eat because I would only keep X, Y, Z in the house. I would just be more careful. But dude, I got 3 kids running around, eating all sorts of stuff. And then there's the families here. So they're cooking big bowls of pasta. And I'm just hey, I just need to not eat for every second day. I have to not be around the food and just leave completely for a day. Because then I'm eating half as much. And that's about as much as I need to eat to be healthy.
You might be the only person that goes over to Italy for 3 months and comes back skinnier.
That's the hope. I've never done it in my life before. I've always come back fatter. And this is hopefully this time I can achieve I can be thinner when I come back. That'd be nice.
Sounds good.
So guys, I think we should wind it up. Does anyone have any questions? Italian food is all carbs. Yes, carbs and fat. Loads of carbs and fat and lots of fruit. Oh, the fruit. Can I just say the fruit here is amazing. The fruit here is amazing. There's something about the soil in Sicily. It's been fertilized by the volcano for thousands of years. The soil is great. And the fruit that grows here is just amazing. It's amazing. So tasty. Who are you saying looking trim? You must be saying that to Jexa. Definitely not saying that to me because I'm not looking trim at all, man. Hopefully in a couple of months. Hopefully in a couple of months. No bitch tits. Oh, hang on. We can do bitch tits. Let's do bitch tits.
I don't even. No one's even voted. I don't think.
No. But I yelled it. I shouted out last week. Yeah, I shouted out. There should be.
So at what point do you think people actually start listening to us, though, mate? I don't think they have yet. So let's see. Hang on, there you go. You can put me under the pump here. I'll just say there's probably. I'll see if we've got any votes.
There should be at least one. There should be at least one vote.
Is that for the? Hang on.
I did shout it out last week. So
there's like 3. What was the date last week? That would have been 30th.
30th.
A couple. Yeah. Oh yeah, got a couple there. Hang on. Give me a look. We need some suspense.
My money's on Dozer.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Just got to bring up a chart. Where are we? What's the best chart? Uni. I can't even remember the chart I used to use now. Hex.uniswap, is it, or Uniswap?
Yeah. I saw that, and he actually left Sicily before I even got here. Otherwise, if we'd both been in Sicily, I would have made an effort to maybe try and meet up with him somewhere. But the food, man, it's too rich, it's too good, and there's stuff here that it's just so fresh. Like when you've ever eaten ricotta in Australia, it's in some plastic tub in the supermarket, and who knows the process of what they've done. When I go buy ricotta here, the guy has squeezed it out of like the goat titties that morning, right? He squeezed it by hand out of goat titties, and then they've made it that morning, and then I get it. Like, it's so fresh. Like, there's no comparison. There's no comparison whatsoever.
Hang on. Oh, you're not gonna. Jesus Christ! All right, let's put it up. I'll just share a screen with you, mate.
I bet you it's par excellence. I bet you.
I think he's in the money.
I can't read that.
Can't read it?
No.
Hang on, I'll just zoom in a bit. Just going to let me zoom in. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's got some weird stuff going on tonight.
You'll have to read it out, mate. Yeah, it's so, my screen is all pixelated.
Are you showing it on? Are you going to put it on screen?
It's already on screen.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've not seen it. Weird. So 0.038 is what par excellence put there, and Celtics had 0.49, but we're actually sitting at 0.43. So I think par excellence takes it.
Did you say 4.3 or 4.2?
Yeah, 4.3. So he's
I would say, Dozer. Dozer gets it.
So Dozer gets it again.
Congratulations, Dozer. Congratulations. How many is that? Do you know how many times you've won? You must have won at least above 5. More than 5 times, at least. Probably 10. Closer to 10. Okay. And do you know, guys, do you know why he wins? I can hear you.
My whole screen's all just frozen. As soon as I share a couple of sessions, it just bombs me.
Yeah, I've just removed it.
There we go.
So, do you know what the key to Par Excellence's success is? That he votes every single week. If you want to win Bitch Tits of the Week, you need to vote. So that please go to www.titbit.ch. That's titbit.ch, and vote for next week's Bitch Tits of the Week. You can be a bitch tits too. So, do you want to wind it up, man?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Thanks so much for coming. If it wasn't for you, man, I would have been here all on my lonesome. So
it was good. It was nice to have a chat. It was a bit easier to have a chat when there's only 2 people on, isn't there?
I've noticed that in the I've known you for like about 2 years, around that.
Yeah.
And in the time that I've known you, you haven't strayed from your anti-ledger. You are adamant that Ledger sucks balls and that Trezor T is the way to go.
Yep. Don't cheap out. Apparently, got to pay $400 now, but hey, I think it's worth it.
I think what I actually reckon, like, they're not as bad as Jexa says, but I do think that Trezor T's are better. They are better. 100%. They're 100%. They're better, but they're just so fucking expensive, man.
I'll tell you why. If they're $400, I'll have a look at ledgers, because it's not like someone just coming into the space. $400 on a hardware device
compared to $100.
But when they could put that into a coin, put that into something and turn it into something meaningful.
And it's not like the ledgers, bro. It's not like the ledgers don't work. They work just fine. Oh no,
that's true. Yeah.
It's just it's like maybe there's some edge case stuff for like high level people. In which case you should probably go buy a Trezor T anyway. If you've got like if you're dealing with that sort of level of crypto needs. I just like the flexibility of having both. That's me. I like.
No, that's true.
So
what you're telling me is I've just made some mad gains on the Trezors I've already brought. They've all gone up. Yeah, they've all gone up $100.
You should sell them on the market, man. Cash in on that 25%. Hey, that's what Tangible do.
Yeah, and then I'll have to buy them back in a higher price.
Yeah, this is true. Hey, man, it's been awesome speaking to you this week. I'll stick around for a second and I'll
for sure.
Chat to the chat. Love you guys.
Thanks, chat, for joining us.
We'll see you in a couple of hours for hopefully the guys are up in time to the live from Vegas live stream. Peace.